so we're going to get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that you're here with me. Thank you for joining me this morning. This is the first time I've ever done something like this before, so it's really nice to have so many friendly faces. And feel free to turn off your videos if you like, and we won't be participating together until the very end. So, good morning. So today, I'm going to show you how to shift from feeling overwhelmed about where to start with astrology to actually focusing on the most important elements that reveal your strengths, your challenges, and even your soul's purpose so that you have clarity about the direction you're headed and possible next steps on your journey. Okay, because I know a lot of you are thinking about how much do I want to learn? So first, I'm going to ask you if you could please put your phones on Do Not Disturb. That would be awesome. That way we can focus. Same with your, hi Jane, we haven't met yet in person. Hello, thank you for joining us. Yeah. So if you don't mind putting your phone on Do Not Disturb. And while you have your phone out, I would love it if we could pull up our personal horoscopes. We're not going to be looking at this too much. I just have a quick exercise for you. And my friend Tracy, who's managing the chat, thank you so much, Tracy. I'm so grateful. She has everybody's astrology. So if there's somebody who doesn't have their astrology easily accessible, she can throw that into the chat easy enough. So what you're going to see here is Prince's horoscope. Prince is one of my favorite humans of all time. A little bit about me is I love Prince beyond measure. And so I used his chart. And if you don't know, the horoscope is often referred to as a chart, a birth chart, a nativity, a natal chart. There's all these synonyms that astrologers use for horoscope. I refer to it most frequently as chart. So that's the word I'm going to be using. And this is Prince's chart. And the chart is a two-dimensional map of the heavens. At the moment you made your grand debut onto the stage of life. So it's the moment you became a unique being, individuated from your mom. And like I said, it's a two-dimensional map of the heavens at the time of your birth. Oprah is another one of my favorite people, and here she is. And let's see. So together, the activity that I want to do is we're going to identify the big three of your chart. Okay, so I want to walk everybody through doing that if you don't already know. So these are what we call in the astrology glyphs. You know, most people would call them symbols, but astrologies, we use the word glyphs. And I'm going to keep this really simple for now because that's the point of this webinar. The horoscope is obviously pretty complex. You can see there's so much going on, but I'm going to keep it super, super simple. So first, we're going to locate on your horoscope the sun. Okay, I just want you to find the sun. This is the glyph for the sun. You can see how Oprah has her sun over in this area of her chart. I don't want you to worry about what house it's in or if there's a planet next to it, if there's another glyph. Don't worry about any of that stuff. We're keeping this super basic. So you're just going to identify where the sun is in your chart, okay? And we're going to do that. Yes, Chip, Oprah is an Aquarius. And then we'll do the same thing for the moon, okay? So where's the moon? That's the glyph for the moon. Let's see where Oprah's moon is. And then the third thing that we're going to identify, and this, the sun and the moon are somewhat easy, right? Like the glyphs are pretty obvious. It's not like some of the other glyphs where you're like, what in the heck is that? The sun and the moon is obvious. But the ascendant, what is the ascendant? What is the glyph for the ascendant? There's actually no symbol for the ascendant. And the ascendant is also referred to often as the rising sign. I actually think I use rising sign more often than ascendant, but I'm using the word ascendant here because I think it's more technical astrology. And the ascendant is located in the same location for everyone. Okay, so think about if you maybe know where the ascendant is in the chart, and I'll give you a gold star later. So the ascendant is right here in your chart. It's located at where 9 o'clock would be on a clock. Okay, and the abbreviation that we use is AC. Even though there's not a glyph for it, we do abbreviate the ascendant to AC. All right, so the ascendant, okay, so the sun obviously is a planetary body, the moon is another planetary body, but what is the ascendant? The ascendant is the zodiac sign that was rising or ascending in the eastern horizon at the time of your birth. So it's not a planet or a heavenly body. I think this must be one reason there's no glyph for it. All right, so the sun, the moon, and the rising are your big three. And something went away. What did I have there? Sorry. What we just identified together, the big three. Yeah, it's the heart of your unique astrology. So the sun, the moon, and the rising. And this is why when I do these monthly events, the Astrological Guidance Circle, I'm always asking, what are your big three? Because this really is the core of your astrology. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So first I want to ask, just to get you guys engaged here, what brought you to astrology? Like there's three things that I think of that really, in terms of astrology. The first is it's so intriguing. I find it endlessly fascinating. It's this symbolic language that's existed for thousands of years across civilizations all over the planet, right? It's like how can this ancient wisdom tradition have existed independently all over the world? And it's super mysterious. We don't know how it works. We know it works, but we don't really know how or why it works. We just know that it does, right? The other thing is, are you excited? It's super exciting to me to think about being able to understand yourself better by that the astrology helps you understand yourself better by revealing more about your personality and your purpose and your soul's evolutionary journey. It's amazing that you can learn to speak the language of the cosmos, right? It's a symbolic language that has all this hidden wisdom for us. Are you curious? Where do you start? Is astrology really for you? Maybe you haven't even decided if you want to learn, or maybe you've started, but you don't really know, like, where am I going? I'm kind of floundering here. Is this person on YouTube actually an accredited astrologer? Who should I listen to? What books should I buy? All that good stuff. So I want to know, actually, put it in the chat, like where you fall. Maybe it's all three. Maybe it's just one of these. Maybe you don't even know. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited too. I get really passionate about this. Yeah, okay, thanks. All right, well, I'm here now. Whatever your motivation, I fully support you. I think, you know, astrology, people have varying levels of interest in the astrology. So whether or not you're dabbling and you just like to read horoscopes, or you're just reading my weekly digest once a week and that's it, great. And if you're like Kaylin, who's my intern and wants to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible, then, right, you're using it in your daily life more and more and more. So I'm so happy that we all found each other and we have this little community. It makes my life so much more interesting to have people like you around me who are into the astrology. And from what I'm hearing from you all, you feel the same way, right? Like this community of people is inspiring and helpful. Yes, Jenny, I love your comment there. Totally. Falling head over heels in love with astrology, not the COVID, which I almost had a slip of the tongue. So most of you know me, but I did include this slide because some of you don't. And this is a photo of my parents. So many of you know that I've been immersed in astrology since I was a tween. I think it was like 12 when my mom had her first consultation, and she became pretty obsessed like overnight, and obsessed is not too strong of a word to use. And she then eventually started studying with Jeff Green, who's the father of evolutionary astrology. And she got her degree from Kepler College. And I'm not here to talk about my mom, but just to say that this is how much I was immersed in astrology growing up. And then in my early 30s, my mom started formally teaching me. So that was my journey with astrology. I'm now in my early 40s. So it's been about 10 years and I've been practicing for a few years. And I now am one of the editors for the Evolving Astrologer, which is a publication of the Organization for Professional Astrology. It's this wonderful professional organization. And I previously was the lead editor at the Mountain Astrologer, which is right here in Grass Valley where I am. And I also have a long career in nonprofit fundraising and events management. And this is my cat, Boo Boo Kitty. She's not my cat, she's the cat. She adopted me, and she is a constant lesson in ego because I always want to refer to her as mine, and she's not mine. She adopted me, I'm hers. We don't need to talk about me more. This is like my credentials and all this stuff, but it's all on my website if you're curious. And I am auntie extraordinaire, so I have a photo of my littles there. So I want you to imagine now, like, if you are in a position to do so, you can even close your eyes and like really feel. I'm going to read this to you. You probably already read it, but allow me to read it to you. Can you imagine understanding yourself better so that you have the clarity, confidence, and direction to live life courageously, authentically? How does that feel in your body when I say that? When you understand your astrology, you can embody your most authentic self and align with divine to live your soul's unique purpose. I think that bears repeating. The astrology helps us embody our most authentic selves. It can help you align with divine and live your soul's unique purpose. I know this is true. This is true for myself. It's true for my students, and I see it with my clients again and again as well. So it sounds like a major stretch to say, but it's just not. And if you have anything to say about that, put it in the chat, because I think that might be another point where we all agree. So today, where we're going with this webinar is the importance of your big three, which, as we've already discerned, is your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. And then where you're headed on your own journey and how to work with me if you want to work with me on that journey. And then I'm also going to do a live Q&A at the end, okay? So the importance of your big three. The big three are the core elements of your unique astrology and therefore your personality. It's the heart of your chart, essentially, right? When I sit with a client or a student, the first thing I look at are the big three. These are the fundamentals that you will return to over and over and over again. And it's because they reveal the paramount themes of our lives and the culmination of our lived experience. Okay, so let's talk about each one now. And before I dive into the sun, let me just go back and say, you know, when we looked at Prince's horoscope or we saw Oprah's horoscope, there really is just so much going on. And astrology is this rabbit hole where you can just endlessly study house systems and different types of astrology and all of these things. But over and over and over again, I remind people, go back to your big three. This is the heart of your chart. It's where all the juice is. Okay, so when you are especially studying, starting out with your studies, it's the big three that you want to return to over and over again. It is kind of like, you know, if you're a singer, you do vocal exercises every day before you start singing. You don't just start singing. Or if you're a runner, you stretch before you run, right? The big three, these are the fundamentals, what you need to come back to again and again. So the sun in the astrology represents our life purpose. It's your soul's evolutionary journey is identified in part by your sun. That's because it represents your life force. It's the sun, right? The giver of life. So it represents your life force and how you'll express your potential or purpose. So the sign that your sun is in helps determine how you express that potential or purpose. And the sun wants to give birth to your deepest desires. Again, the sun is the life force. It's the giver of all life. So symbolically, you can think about how is the sun as a reflection of nature operating in my life? What does my sun mean for me in my personal life on a day-to-day basis? So it reveals how you shine, how you express your individuality in a creative way. Okay. Again, creation. It's very, very creative, the sun. And then where you feel dignified and how you will receive praise or how you like to receive praise. And the sun itself for everyone. It wants to be creative and passionate, and it wants to express personal potential, and it wants to act and create with authenticity, right? I once had an astrologer say to me that the sun shines no matter where you are and what country you are. So if you're in Iceland, the sun is shining. And if you're in Africa, the sun is shining. And in Iceland, the sun shines different the experience of the sun shining is different in Iceland than it is in Africa, but we deal with it no matter where we are. So if you are a Caucasian person in Africa, you are going to put on some sunscreen because the sun is going to burn bright and hot. And if you're in Iceland, maybe not so much, but the sun never stops authentically being itself, right? You, the people around you, us, we have to deal with whatever the sun is doing on a particular day. And I really liked this. It was kind of an interesting metaphor to me for thinking about how our suns operate, and that we need to be who we are, right? Authentically. And that's what the sun shows us in the astrology, is how to do that. And also what may prevent us from doing that, right? Like where the placement of your sun is in the chart is very revealing of how you're expressing yourself and what strengths and challenges you will have to that expression, okay? If you have any questions about what I'm saying, you can either put them in the chat and we'll come back to them. Tracy, if you wouldn't mind, if somebody leaves a question that I can address at the end, maybe just jotting that down, or if y'all want to just jot down your own questions and then you can ask me at the end during the Q&A. So the moon is your emotional life. I say here, your moon is the yin to your sun's yang, exhibiting the receptive side of your personality. Unlike the bright light of the sun, the moon is your emotion and your shadow side, those aspects of your personality that are illuminated in your relationships with your most intimate others. So our moon signs are actually how we are interacting most frequently with our intimate others, those being our lovers, our children, our parents, and our closest friends. They're getting a big dose of your lunar energy. And hey, guess what? Your lunar energy is your shadow. So it's often the side that you can't see very well, but other people can see. And you know what that's like, right? Where your parents or your friends will make jokes about certain aspects of your personality because they see things, you know, they see all your idiosyncrasies and your quirks much clearer, more clearly than you may see them yourself. So that's what the moon represents in your chart, among other things. So it reveals what you need physically and emotionally. Because it's our needs generally, okay? What are our needs and how do we get our needs met? And how do we want other people to meet our needs? And how do we think that other people need their needs met, right? We project onto other people usually what we want for ourselves. So we nurture others the way we would want them to nurture us, etc. So the moon reveals what you need physically and emotionally, how you nurture and seek nourishment. It's also your early childhood and your parents. Okay, the moon, when I look at a person's astrology, I'm really getting a good dose of what happened in the house when you were a young person. Or if you are a parent now, how do you parent your children? And the moon also is symbolic of what you need to feel safe. Okay, this is like, it's has a lot to do with survival generally. Okay, so how we feel safe. So if you think about all the things that we need to feel safe in life, we need, you know, safe and stable home. We need to not be food insecure, et cetera, et cetera. All of these experiences in life are represented by the moon. And the moon itself really wants nurturing through emotional connection. It wants stable homes and nourishing diets. It wants to emote with authenticity. And it wants to be cared for and to care for others. Give me just one moment here. I need to drink some water. All right, so moving on to the ascendant or the rising sign. This is your personality and motivation. The sign of your ascendant represents your personality, how you express yourself in daily life, what motivates you, and the qualities you'll embody to move confidently through our earthly existence, right? It's like we have to navigate life some way, and the AC shows us how we're doing that. So your rising sign reveals your comfort zone. It's the role you play or the mask you wear to express yourself to others. And when I say mask, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not like you're being inauthentic or hiding. It's like the clothes that you wear, right? Like every time I see Chip, he's wearing some amazing shirt. It's like this is part of who he is, and it's part of how I perceive him, right? I perceive him in a certain way based on how he presents. So this is the rising sign, and why other people will, why it's how it's how other people perceive you. So in fact, if you were to guess somebody's astrology, you're most likely going to be guessing their ascending sign, not their sun sign, because it's the ascendant, the rising sign energy that we are projecting out into the world as we navigate daily lives. Again, it's different if you're at home or you're with a close friend. I'm talking about just your day-to-day life, okay? And it reflects the direction your life will take to actualize your soul purpose, okay? And again, this goes back to the sign that it's in and what else is happening with your ascendant, if you have a planet there, etc. So your AC wants to authentically express your personality as you attend to everyday matters so that you can align with your life purpose and soul destiny. Again, the ascendant is not a planetary body, but it does move very quickly. And so if you were born an hour earlier or later, it is almost entirely likely that your ascendant would be in a different sign entirely. And so that's why it's so important that we have our exact birth times with the astrology. It's for the ascendant, okay? The sun and moon don't move nearly as quickly, although birth time is also important for the moon. And there was one other thing I wanted to say. Yeah, Oprah's chart. I don't know if anybody noticed, but Oprah has a very late ascendant. So if she had been born even probably 5 or 10 minutes later, she would have had a different ascendant entirely. So again, going back to the birth time, that's the significance there. Okay, so what does that mean, Eileen? I can already hear Tiffany asking me. And others, of course. I love you, Tiffany. So the signs, the houses, the aspects, here's the horoscope up here, right? It's a lot. It's really juicy information. The horoscope is a complex map of your personality, your life purpose, your soul's evolutionary journey, and the big three are at the heart of your chart. So the nuance and the magic of your chart are illuminated by the signs your sun, moon, and ascendant occupy, and what houses of your horoscope they're located, the sun and the moon, and the aspects or relationships that the sun and the moon and the rising are making to other planets. That's a lot to learn. You can spend years learning all of that stuff. And it's why I'm teaching a course, which I'm about to tell you about, okay? It's way too much for a simple webinar. And my jam is really distilling this information into bite-sized chunks for you. I want to make this as easy as possible for you to learn. So first, I want to determine, like, where are you headed on your astrological journey, right? So I'm giving you 3 options here. There's the first one, nice ride, Eileen, thanks, meaning you're going to get off this webinar and be like, that was cool. Now I know more about like the fundamentals of astrology. That's great. I know what an astrologer looks at when he or she or they sit down at the, in front of a person's chart. Great, good enough for me. The second is tell me all the things. Chip, I know that's you right now, right? Jenny, Kaylin. And then the third is I'm not really sure. Like maybe I want to learn a little bit more, but I don't really know what that means. I don't know what amount of time I have to invest, all of this stuff, right? So I already talked about all of this. Oh, hey, you guys, I have so many slides about this apparently. So which one are you? Get in the chat and let me know. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I want to know everything, or I'm really not sure yet. Help me out. Help me figure it out. But to get to the point of this webinar, this class, is if you remember only one thing from today, this is what I want you to remember. The core of your astrology is found in your sun, moon, and rising. So the next time you want to ask a more complicated question and you don't have the answer, I encourage you to go back to your sun, moon, and rising and study it a little bit more. Familiarize yourself with it a little bit more. It's kind of like a metaphor I could use would be like, you know, when you live in a town or a city, like I lived in San Francisco for years. I never once went to Alcatraz, right? But the tourists will come to San Francisco and we'll go to Alcatraz, right? So it's like, it's so easy to miss what's right in front of you and to bypass it or skip over it because there's all this other juicy, interesting things that take you down the rabbit hole. But it's like, what is actually in your immediate vicinity right here that you can learn more about? Okay, that's your sun, moon, and your ascendant. So although there's 12 different planetary bodies I'm looking at when I examine your chart, the foundation is the big three. So I want you to see how easy it is to begin learning the most important basics without feeling overwhelmed and confused, right? It's like all this other stuff is super important. It's the magic and beauty of astrology. It's why you see a professional astrologer. And also, when you are starting out as a student, it can become the noise that distracts you. Okay, so how to work with me. This is where I'm going to teach you or tell you about this class. So you can keep learning on your own. You can learn by your lonesome, or you can do the personal instruction thing with me. Yay. Obviously, I hope number 2 is like, you're like, yes, I want to learn with you, Eileen. So this is where I'm going to tell you about this course that I have created for you all. And I'm inviting you to it. It's the big 3, Astrological Basics for Beginners, okay? And it will give you the tools, inspiration, and personalized support to begin learning the ancient language of astrology, which we've already established provides mind-blowing insight into your psyche, aligns you with divine and your soul's purpose, and helps you navigate life with greater ease, right? Astrology is so amazing. So this is what I'm going to be teaching throughout the course. You'll get an understanding of not just like what we did here today. This is basic, but I'm going to be going in much, much deeper to this, you know, overview of what you got today. So we're going to be learning about the symbolism of your sun sign and for your soul's evolutionary intentions, strengths and weaknesses of your sun, the placement of your sun, etc. We're doing that for the moon and also with the rising sign. So juicy there. You're also going to get greater insight into your own psyche as a result of doing this, right? The number one benefit I hear from folks over and over and over of astrology is it helps me understand myself better. It helps me understand myself better. So you'll get that as well as being able to understand others too. You'll also get clarity as to whether or not you want to keep going with astrology. Astrology, I cannot say it enough. It's a huge personality system, right? So it's like it takes years to learn properly. It's very complex and nuanced. And what I would like folks to do is like beef up their basics and then determine whether or not they want to keep going and expand from there. It can be really super overwhelming and expensive and time consuming to just be like, I'm going to take an astrology course that is going to be months long or, you know, hours and hours and hours of time. That's not what this is. It's really like fun, supportive, and quick, super easy. It's only for 3 weeks. Okay. I'm teaching this for 3 weeks. So it's 1 week each for the sun, moon, and rising. And I'm going to start this in just 2 weeks from now on January 21st. Okay. So each class is only 60 minutes. That's it, an hour. Because I know you're busy. And here's what you can expect. So it's 60 minutes every week for 3 weeks, live class with me. And there will be a Q&A at the end of every class. And we will be covering how your big 3 presents or behaves, the core symbolism or archetypes. Archetypes is a big word that I haven't really hit on here, right? And then the karmic intentions of these points in the astrology as well as the placement and signs that they're in. So it's 3 modules, the sun, the moon, and the rising sign. And I priced out the course at $295. Okay. And I'm going to give you, because I love you all so much, and I know that the economy is not fabulous right now, and a lot of people, frankly, have been struggling, right? And I think that the astrology provides so much value. I don't want people to, I don't want you to be prevented from learning because of money. So I'm also throwing in a 20-minute consultation. And my consultations are $225 for an hour. So this is a $150 value that I'm going to give you for free, 20-minute consultation. And you can save that for the end of the course, or we can talk earlier. If you have a specific question, et cetera, we can talk about so many different things. And this is only for folks who enroll, you guys, in the course before Friday morning at midnight, Thursday, 11:59. Okay, so it's a limited time deal. And you will receive also for each module, I'm going to be doing bonus guides and different learning materials for each module. So it won't only be a live teaching. So with the consultation and the course, it's a $445 value, and I'm going to give it to you for $149. I already told you why. I gave you the economic shtick already, right? So altogether, this is $149, this 3-week course. And partly I'm doing it because it's my first time teaching in this format. I'm totally new at this. And I'm hoping that you will feel inspired to leave me a testimonial and give me feedback throughout it. And also that you'll have patience with me because there are tech issues and all these things that arise when you are creating a digital course. So that's partly why I priced it so low. All right. So Tracy, would you mind? I'm going to have you, so that you all have the link. I want you guys to have the link to the course page and where the course lives online with all of the details, because I'm not trying to take up your whole morning telling you all about the course. I just want you to have the most important information today. So this is what it looks like. When you click on that link, which you can do now or later, this is what you're going to see. This is the homepage. This is what it looks like. And if you were to click on this button, yes, I'm in, and enroll for the course, it's going to take you here on the page where you can actually enroll. And I have 2 options for you. Okay, there's the independent study, which is 3 weeks, 3 hours. The last class actually is 75 minutes because it'll be the last one. And so I've given us a little bit extra time. And the second option is for the overachievers in the group like me, those of you who have strong Saturns. And it's a VIP experience, which is essentially I'm going to be hosting a workshop after each live class. So the classes are at 11 a.m. in the morning for 3 Sundays. So from 11 to 12, we have a class. That's the independent study. For those who want the workshop option as well, we'll take a 15-minute break. We'll come back, and then there will be a 1-hour workshop, and we're going to go way deeper there. It's going to be like kind of like study group, actually, where you like dive into our specific, your personal astrology, and we'll be looking at people's charts. I promise that your chart will be reviewed at least once during these 3 weeks. And you'll just get a much deeper analysis, and you'll be able to start implementing the knowledge quicker, right? Okay, so those are your 2 options. The VIP experience is $100 more, so it's $249, and that's 3 workshops. Each one is an hour. Okay, so if you were to hit the enroll now button, it's going to take you to this order form, just like any other order form page you've ever seen. You guys, this is the first time I've done something like this. I feel like it's bringing up all the stuff. My mind has been very active about what I'm doing here. So I'm being very candid and transparent with you because you're also my friends, and it's been a journey doing this. And already I've had a tech glitch, which is that when you're on this page, if you sign up, it does not redirect you to my thank you page for some reason. And tech support, we're all up in it. But if you encounter a glitch here, you probably did enroll for the class for sure. It's just a tech glitch if it doesn't take you to the thank you page that confirms you made a purchase, but you will get an email if you buy it that says, hey, Tracy, yay, you're enrolled, right? So that's how you can confirm. And obviously I'm figuring out that tech glitch. And then this is the course platform. So we have a whole website that I've built out where we will have all of our materials, and it's this really lovely site that is fantastic for us to use. I'm very excited about it. Super excited to offer a course. So many people have asked me, when are you going to teach a course? So now I'm doing that, and I want your input and feedback and all the things. And now, after giving you all of that information, I'm going to stop the screen share and come back to you. And whoever wants to be on video, I welcome you to be on video. And if you don't want to be, it's totally fine. If I was not here, I would be in my pajamas at home with Boo Boo Kitty. And with our last few minutes, I would like to offer Q&A time. If anybody has a question, you are actually, since there's quite a few of us on the call, why don't we do, if you have a question, you can raise your hand, and the question can be about anything. It can be about the big three that I reviewed. It can be about the course, any questions that you might have. Yes, Tracy.
So I think Jenny is trying to stump you or get some real wisdom from you with this question.
Probably.
It came up during the moon section, and the question is, it says, question about the moon, are we passing on to our children what was given to us?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Well, I mean, there's so many ways to answer that, right? But I'll just be very focused on the astrology. Do we pass? Yes, in part, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But Jenny, hop on and elaborate.
I think she said she couldn't unmute herself.
Oh, I was wondering because I couldn't.
I can do that.
There you
I can
are.
try. Yeah. So what I heard you say was that our moon was like our parents or our mother or our parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought you said that it was also what we want to give our children. And you didn't say it like in the same sentence, but
right.
If you remember anything about that, I'd love your elaboration.
Totally. So the moon reflects back the parenting that we received, how we were nurtured as young children. It's our early childhood generally, right? And then it also represents how we nurture. And of course, we are going to nurture in part how we were nurtured, right? It's nature and nurture play a role. Like, here's an example. I have a Gemini moon, and so this may apply to you as well because you have a Gemini moon. And my mother was much more intellectual than she was affectionate, but I'm a very affectionate person. So even though I didn't get a lot of affection from my mom, I did get a lot of affection from my sister. And that, am I affectionate because I'm naturally affectionate, or am I affectionate because this is how my sister demonstrated love for me? And my sister's 8 years older. She was a second mom. I don't know. Nobody could tell me why, right? But I know that the astrology does definitely accurately reflect that I had a more logical approach to parenting than I did a nurturing approach to parenting, right? I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Anyone else? Chip, you said that you're a Libra moon and both of my parents are Libra. Yeah, again, the air sign moons generally had parents who are more intellectual than emotional. These are generalizations. This is where your whole chart comes into play. Does that feel accurate for you, Chip?
Say that one more time.
That your parents took a more intellectual approach to parenting, like they might have been more mentally available than emotionally available or physically available.
Kind of. Yeah, yeah. To an extent. They were still emotional too, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's more like the predisposition or the bias, right? It's not like saying that your parents aren't going to be good parents or anything like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's more like the default through which they're parenting.
Yeah, no, I get that. I can see that.
Courtney.
Hi.
Hi, dear. How are you?
Good. How are all of you?
I'm well, thank you.
I have a weird question.
Yeah, I love it.
Um, could I do the course but focus on my mom's chart?
Totally. Yes.
Okay.
What I would say there is what I like to do is ask permission of somebody when you're reviewing their astrology. I don't ever like if you were to come to me and say, will you look at my mom's astrology? My first question to you is, do you have permission for me to review her astrology? Because I really believe that your astrological chart is a very intimate, it's a window into your soul. And if you're going to be expending time and energy examining somebody's soul makeup,
Mhm.
you should have their permission to do that, because otherwise it can be, from my experience and my perspective, it can be somewhat energetically invasive, right?
Okay. I did already tell her about the group and everybody.
Good. Yeah.
You don't have to say yes right now. I thought it would be cool.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And like if somebody has a child, it's beautiful. And let me say this too, the information that you're going to be learning in this can be applied to anybody. So even though like you might be wanting to focus on one particular chart in the group, and like if you wanted to do the VIP workshops and you wanted to bring your mom's chart versus your chart, totally fine. But everything you're learning is applicable to anybody's chart.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Kaylin, you had a question. Is the Evolving Astrologer a website or a blog? Oh yeah, the Evolving Astrologer is a magazine, actually. Yeah, it's the publication of OPA, the Organization for Professional Astrology. Yeah, that's what I edit for, the Evolving Astrologer. I always forget that the magazine has a different name than the organization. And if there are those of you who are studying at a more advanced level, I do recommend the Evolving Astrologer really is pretty advanced, so it might be too much for some folks. I know the Mountain Astrologer is too much for a lot of people. Like it's in the briar patch, and I watch people pick it up and flip through it and then put it back down because it's like, it's a second language, right? Yeah. Jane, did you have a question?
I guess my question is, I've taken other astrology classes. I've graduated from another astrology school. I love the beginning astrology. I'm even taking a beginning astrology class with another astrologer just because I love to learn. What other classes do you offer?
Yeah, you don't need this, that's for darn sure. And this is the only course that I'm offering currently, but I do obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I am a consulting astrologer, so I offer consultations. And then also where I would love to see you is the first Monday of every month, or excuse me, the first Thursday of every month, I do a guidance circle. And it's not a class. We just come together and talk about astrology and talk about what's happening with the present astrology. So if you're local, you could drop into that. It's a lot of fun. We get kind of like, even when it's a subdued vibe, we always kind of leave on a high because we're connecting and talking about the astrology. And yeah, thanks, Courtney. And it is folks at various levels of study. So it's not a course. I also do a study group, which is the last Wednesday of the month, but I'm thinking of changing that date, but I do the study group as well. So you might want to stop by for that at some point. All of these things are drop-in. None of them are regular courses, and they're priced very reasonably. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here. It's nice to meet you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.
Anyone else? Yeah, thanks for dropping that's my website, Jane, that Tracy just dropped in there. And there's an events tab on my website. Thank you, Tracy. And you can check out all the offerings that I have there. And I would love, actually, Jane, for me, it's creating a business around astrology. Astrology is not new, of course, but professional astrologers are new. Like there are not very many professional astrologers, people really trying to make their living off of astrology. And I would say I'm doing that part-time. And so I need actively the feedback from folks like you all of you, as to like what you want and what you need, because I have a different experience as a practicing astrologer versus, you know, being on the other end of it. So that's part of why I've done this course, is because people kept asking me, where do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? Right? And needing this personalized. I am on YouTube. I don't publish videos on YouTube very often because I'm focused elsewhere, but it's like the best benefit of this course that I'm offering everybody is that you have access to me personally, right? You're not going to be talking to an intern, and you're not going to be wading through YouTube videos or wading through books trying to determine what are the best teaching materials. Like, you'll get that personalized assistance. Yeah, Kaylin.
Oh, I just noticed that a lot of times other people who are in astrology will ask you what your SMR is and which is this. So I don't think, maybe I missed it, but if someone asks you what your SMR, it's sun, moon, and rising, and then you can be all cool and tell them.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That must be like what the cool kids are saying, because I honestly have never heard that. I mean, when you said it, I was like, yeah, sun, moon, rising, but yeah.
What's your SMR?
Thank you for introducing me to the hip new astro lingo. This is why I need an intern. All right, my friends, we are over time. If anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to stay on the call and keep answering questions, but I also want you to know that it's totally fine to drop and punk out on us if you have other places to be. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. If you have any questions about the course, thank you, Chip. I love you so much. So I was just brighten my day. If you have any other questions, or if you have any tech issues with my sales page, let me know. I think everybody here has my phone number, so you're welcome to email me, text me, however it's best to reach me, do that. And I will chat with you all soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Yeah.
Can you
Bye.
read the signing deadline to sign up for the course?
Oh, yeah. So the registration deadline, thank you, Tracy, is January 18th. Yeah. And then we start on the 21st. So actually, yeah, I think it's the 17th or the 18th. So if you're interested, especially if you want to get that 20-minute consultation, sign up by Thursday. That's the important thing to remember. Yeah. All right. Talk to you all soon.
Thank
Happy
you.
Sunday. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.